right, let's explore a couple variations. We're going to use the 72 gear from the compact gear set and the 176 ring from the hoops gear set, and an awkward arm posture because I've got a cat curled up right where my elbow wants to be. I'm just going to use penhole B2 for all of these. Now let's go make the first variation a rainbow. Next color. So this has eight possible steps. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's back to the next spot. So I'm going to use 8 different colors, going one step each time, from light blue to dark blue and onwards. Here we go. So I thought for this video I was going to talk about variations, but in that time lapse I think you saw a whole bunch of slippage happen. I had one green mark just go wildly off base when Lemon curled up onto the paper too much and my hand just slipped. And then you probably saw me repositioning the final purple line 4, 5, 6 times. I'm not sure how many times I did it. And that's partially because I should have picked a different paper for this. And I want to talk about the recovery that I was doing as a useful technique. So first, about the paper and about the problem I was running into. I could have put a teeny tiny magnet on here, or even like a quarter, to give it just a tiny bit of weight, and that would have solved this problem. I'm using really light printer paper for this piece. For some reason, usually I use a heavier cardstock. And it's not heavily rippling, but it was starting to get just like a little bit of warp to it from how much I've been going over it with these dense felts. And so if you're gonna do a really dense design like this, using heavier cardstock will help with paper structural integrity, because any paper, if you go over it enough in the same spot with a pen, it will eventually begin to warp, begin to wear out, begin to tear. And how the pens you choose affect the paper, you know, ballpoint pens will be different than felt tip pens, will be different than gel pens, like they'll all wear out paper differently. So that's just a thing to experiment with and know. And just a tiny bit of weight on this gear would have helped avoid that problem. And if I'd been thinking, I could have done that after my first mishap. But I want to talk about how I solved this problem, because it was getting really dense and it was kind of hard for me to, like, I slipped off here somewhere. I was like, I don't know where I lost the spot. And so the first time I came back to my starting point, which was here, I think, which was really easy for me to see because I hadn't disguised it. I had it out at the perimeter, and so I could see where the line started. So I went back, and this is the easiest way to fix a slip where you've just lost your place, is to go back to the starting point and go the opposite direction. You'll eventually come to where you got to, and it'll finish the design. And then I slipped again. I don't know where. Some of these slips were really small, so they're not actually all going to show up. But because this was an almost finished design, like I could see the gaps in the pattern where I hadn't finished it yet. So I just picked one that was going to be easy for me to position it at. And I started again, going one direction until I, could see through the gear and see that I'd finished. I'd started overlapping the dark purple, and I brought it back here. And I did that again. I think I had to do that 2 or 3 times to finish this design. It was made harder because I had a cat curled up right here, so I couldn't see very well. And also my arm positioning was bad. But I think this is a good illustration of recovery and how to finish something if you think you've lost your spot. yeah, I will talk more on variations and incomplete designs in my next couple videos, because I do want to show off a couple variations of this, just about color choice and about line density. And then I realized I also want to talk about the tension of incomplete patterns and how you can use that in composition in really interesting ways. Anyway, this video has gone far too long. Thank you for watching. And this is once again made with wild gears. Hoops gear set and compact gear set are excellent starting points. See you in the next video.